Hello, everybody. The name is Leonard Jr., and I am here with Mr. ZEKE Beats, a pretty big legend, DJ legend throughout the world of the country of Australia, and now leaving his mark all across the USA, and now being a part of the Better Off Alive. No, actually, no, that's not alive. Better Off Dead tour that is with Barely Alive. First things first, I have to ask this. How does it feel to be on this incredible tour with some pretty amazing people? Like, obviously Barely Alive, but we also have Azora, Godlins, Resurrect, Subnautica, and all these other incredible people on the lineup. How does it feel?
Yeah, it's great, getting to finally meet the people in person who are in the same industry and touring, and a lot of the time we're just like all in different areas of America, and getting to meet one another in person instead of messaging each other on Instagram is pretty cool. And yeah, I'm like, obviously super grateful to be on the tour with Barely Alive and YDG and Villa. It's really cool. I think the only other times we've really socialized would have been either Bass Canyon or like other music festivals where we've just like briefly passed one another.
Right.
So yeah, no, it's great.
Well, in that regard, yeah, sure, because you guys are just busy, you have to be on the stage, do your thing, then next artist up, type of thing. It's not much time to really socialize or say, I really appreciate what you did, that type of thing, in your musical journey, that type of thing. It's not that much time. So to have moments like this, especially like in the Green Wars, it's just like, a tour with all these people. You actually speak with them for a bit before you guys get on stage. It does have a bit of convenience to it.
Definitely.
Now, the journey of ZEKE Beats has not been, dare I say, it's been a very long journey. It has its ups and downs. But I feel like if we go back to July of 1987, when you first were on this earth, and then we go 13 years later in the year 2000, where you decided to start actually doing some DJing, I'm curious to know what kind of sparked that type of interest in DJing first when you were at the age of 13. And I feel like we have to give some love to one person who was very important to you, your older brother, and him being a rave kid and having all these type of experiences, him having some type of music that you guys listen to. But how did it really spark?
Definitely. I mean, I have 3 older brothers that are all into like experimental electronic music as well as heavy like metal and rock and stuff like that. So they introduced me to a lot of different genres of music, which had an impact on me. And the thing that kicked this all off and that sparked it was my music teacher in high school when I was year 8, so I would have been 13 years old. Mm-hmm. And he came over from England, and he had actually bought some turntables and a mixer with the music budget, the school budget. Mm-hmm. And I used to go in every lunchtime, every break I could, just to like play around on these turntables. And
that was your recess.
Yeah, that was my recess. And then I could even like loan the equipment out on the weekends, so I used to bring it home on the weekends. And I didn't really have a table big enough, except there was a pool table, so we used to set the decks up on a pool table and just practice mixing the same like 6 records over and over again.
Do you still remember like some of the records you used to spin when you had those turntables? Because it seemed like maybe the records that you use inspired the music you listen to and you want to make today. I think one of them, I'm just going to throw out a guess, was one of those vinyl records, The Prodigy, I believe?
It wasn't The Prodigy, okay. But it was, there was Mojo, which is the song Lady, so mm-hmm. Lady, Hear Me Tonight. There was also Groove Jet Spiller, I think it was. And then there was also like a Madison Avenue, I think it was like a Don't Call Me Baby or something like that. But those are the 3 I can remember off the top of my head.
Right.
And yeah, it's like there was a couple of extras which I should remember, but it's I don't know if I really spent the time to think of it, but on the spot I can't remember.
Understood. It's been a long time, but I'm always a person who loves to hear the humble beginnings of certain people that I really do look up to and inspired by. So I have to give my love and respect to your music teacher and your school having the budget to bring turntables to the school and for you to loan them and use them and practice with them. Because if it wasn't for your music teacher and the school, would you 5 years later start doing turntable competitions in your own country? How did you discover to do turntable competitions in when you were at the age of 18?
Yeah, I mean, I originally started on the turntables and then I shifted to CDJs because I couldn't afford to buy records all the time at that age, and so I used to burn CDs, download music.
Remember those days?
So that's what led me to buy CDJs, and then I didn't actually get into turntablism and scratching and competitions until I was 18, and that's because I come from a small country town, and a guy named DJ Junior came to my small country town, and he was like a scratching guy and in Western Australia, and he was a competitive DJ. He entered all the competitions, and then I saw what he did, and I was like blown away by it because I'd been mixing for so long. I'd kind of gotten a little bit bored with it because I was like, okay, cool, I get it, and I'm always the sort of person who always goes on to the next thing because I just want to keep growing and learning, so and then from there I sold my CDJs, bought turntables, I bought an instructional DVD on how to scratch, and then I started entering competitions, and my first competition I took out, I won, so yeah, it was pretty good. That was the state DMC title, and then I won it 3 consecutively times, and then 1 runner-up in Australia. And then I entered another competition called IDA, and I was the Australian champion of that, or Australasian champion, which was Australia and New Zealand, which I then went to Poland to represent Australia in the Worlds, and I got 4th place on that one. Yeah.
That is amazing to hear, and that's incredible. So in Australia, you're kind of like the DJ craze of your country.
Yeah, in a way, I'd like to regard myself like that.
I say that because of him as well. He won his also what was it called again? The DCA?
DMC.
The DMCs. Yeah. He won his 3 times consecutively in a row. Well, second place by beaten by a few British people, but then he smoked them again in the next round with A-Track as well. I still remember he told me about that. I interviewed him a few weeks back, and that was. It was an honor to meet him as well. So to see someone like you, almost step in his shoes and represent Australia in that way is incredible to hear, amazing to see, and not as incredible as, of course, you passing the torch and making a space, creating a space for other people who are also younger, maybe the same age as you at that time, to step in your shoes, be on the turntables and learn about the craft. You made your own DJ school, which I believe is still running, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that's correct. I started my own business called Lab 6, which was primarily a DJ school at the beginning, which we then expanded into a music production school. And at the time, I didn't actually produce. So I used to bring in people to teach, and that was people such as Slumberjack, Morgan and Fletch, shout out, Lude, and another guy named Palace, who actually bought the school off my business partner and I when I decided to move to America for this career. So that was when. So I was an electrician before then.
Right.
So I was working as a sparky, as we'd say in Australia, and then eventually I got made redundant in that job, which then forced me into a position where I didn't know what to do. But it was like an uncomfortable position where it made me make the jump or the leap, so to speak, into starting something that I'm passionate about, like my DJ school, which then led to, abundance of other opportunities in meeting many international artists who would come by and do live streams or use the studio. And then eventually I started making music, and my music started gaining traction, and sooner or later I got offers coming into my inbox on Facebook messages, which is weird, from Shambhala and Bass Rush. Tony Marino was the first person to email me, and he was like, do you want to play Project Z? It's this new festival that we're doing, and there's a Bass Rush stage and everything. So I was like, yeah, of course. So I haven't looked back since then, but that's a brief background of like my journey from being competitive DJ, electrician, the business, and then ZEKE Beats stuff. Yeah.
Right. And when you start, like, becoming ZEKE Beats, like, you start, like, producing, making your own music, something tells me that in the beginning, you weren't really like that confident. I'm just guessing, because the very first song you ever released on SoundCloud on January 29, 2013, it was just Zeke's dumb remix of Bower Dum Dum, and to me it was like, okay, this sounded pretty dang good. I don't know why you're calling it dumb, because, well, for one, in my eyes, every producer has to start somewhere. So for what you did and all the work you've done so far, like, in your journey, this is not dumb to me. It's just someone starting something that's brand new and doing pretty dang good at it. So
Well,
was there any, did you have any doubts of production, or?
Yeah, there's always that self-doubt whenever you're putting any piece of art out there. You're being vulnerable with being criticized by people, and it's that criticism which will shape us, or will make us be, give us the I don't know how to say it, but like, you can either choose to conform or you can choose to stand strong with what you do.
Mm-hmm.
So I chose to obviously stand strong in what I did, but at the moment I was like very vulnerable. So I was like, oh yeah, Zeke's dumb remix, whatever. And it's just more like a not serious way of taking anything. Whereas now, I do have a lot of pride in my work and my music, and I believe strongly in my music. It's very unique. It's very of its own kind of sound, I guess.
Right.
So yeah.
So can you say maybe maybe in your future sets, will we still hear like some of the ZEKE Beat classics, if possible? Maybe some work from the Meltdown EP, the Dispatch EP, maybe a bit of that Yuck.
Yes, definitely. So tonight, in my set, I plan to play Meltdown and Dispatch. I don't have a Yuck in there, but I might throw it in there since you're mentioning it.
Right.
Those are definitely early tracks which shaped my career and got me a lot of traction in the US for sure.
Yes, and a lot of them, of course, people, like you said, you were really focused on being experimental with it. So yes. It seemed like every song that I hear, starting from 2013, 2016, and then as time went on, it seems like not only were you obviously getting better and better, as each year you go on, you improve, you evolve yourself. However, it seems like there's always that spark of experiment, that spark of trying to do something that's new, that no one has really done before. I mean, heck, you were literally trying to combine CDJs with turntables, combining the new school and the old school, which is amazing to witness, amazing to see, and I'm honored and blessed to hopefully see it tonight. And that's something that is that does make you stand out from the crowd, because who would do both take the new school of it, the CDJs that people will be using, like USB, SD cards, and then combine it with vinyls as well. So to me, that's incredible. That's something that makes you stand out. But back on topic. Sorry, back on topic. I got sorry for that. It's just I'm just really curious to know. There always will be that spark of experimentation and you trying to do something that's brand new that will make you stand out above the EDM industry.
Definitely,
right?
There's a difference between copycats and creators, and there's always going to be those who will.
And then the middle line, be people who are inspired, because you can obviously there's difference. People say flattery is someone copying and doing what you do. But at the same time, they can take inspiration from it and then imply it into their sound and make it their own.
Exactly, right? And that's one thing I like to do personally with my influences. And the thing with you saying about the experimental side of music and all that kind of stuff. I know for a fact that I also influenced many people now who are fucking massive, and I'm still here doing my thing, but and then they've taken bits and pieces of what I've done, and it's really flattering to see that, because it's oh wow, I feel like I made an influence or an impact on somebody's journey because they heard my song and then they've been like, oh, what? That's crazy. Like, I want to make music like that. So yeah, not to big note myself or anything, but I want to continue to push the boundaries all the time because that's what really excites me. And there's no point to doing anything in life if I'm just like gonna be like, being a puppet or like, creating things for the masses that are just like McDonald's. So
right. Understood. So this kind of leads to this as well. First, I'll ask this then. Do you always like want to maybe make a little something, make a little stream, like showing people or teach people some of your skills, or not? Like what you did in your DJ school.
Yeah.
There's always that like moment where it's like, no, I just want to make something on Twitch, like be like, here's a little ZEKE Beats production stream, the type of thing.
Definitely, and I was doing a lot more of those during the pandemic. And because touring has started up now, I haven't really done that because my time during the week is devoted to making music and like completing like remixes or whatever before leaving on Friday or Thursday to then tour, to going back home on Sunday. So really I've only got like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, those are like solid days of music. So it's a very hard act to juggle when you're touring.
Wow.
Otherwise I would do a lot more if it was like, if I could monetize it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I will say this, that you have most definitely evolved from 2017 ZEKE Beats, because you said in one of your older interviews that I also use some software synth and those are like my go-tos, but I don't really tell too many people what I use because I don't want everyone jumping on the same sort of bandwagon.
Definitely.
So, it seems when I read that at first, and I was thinking like, okay, maybe he won't tell all his secrets, because if people knew all the secrets, all the MIDIs, all the CDJs, all the techniques he was using, and it'll influence sadly more copycats. But
that was an old approach, whereas like I feel like my new approach is I'm happy to tell everybody everything, and if they have the desire to grow and really commit themselves to it, then they will use those tools maybe in the same way I use them, but hopefully even better. And that's how things grow and move forward. So when people ask me questions now, I just give them everything. I'm like, oh yeah, I use this, I use that. And half the time people don't commit to learning about it. They don't, it's like if you really want something at the end of the day, you gotta
devote like almost all your time into it.
That's right.
Because that's the only way you're going to really improve and like get better. If the more you do it, the more you learn, the more information you obtain, the better you become.
That's right. So I actually learned my music production skills from Eprom.
I was gonna mention Eprom. I was gonna be like, what like lessons, what type of things did you learn from him? Because it seems like the introduction between you and Eprom meeting was like, it was just you being a fan of his work as well, who also had a lot of time and effort in the EDM industry, but then it was like, I just love your work, I really appreciate you so much. That's how it kind of began, 2011, 2012, and then as time went on, he was like, you know what, since you're coming from Australia to USA, you can stay in my place, just get yourself built up, and then as time goes on, you can then work on your craft, improve on it, and then you can flip out on your own. And then as time went on, it kind of just like, Eprom was really that like really good friend, but also like really good mentor.
Definitely.
So it seems.
It's like he's one of those people who likes to plant seeds, but not necessarily tell you exactly how to do something. So it's nice when you get those seeds, because then you are left to water those seeds and watch them grow.
About to say, you have to be the water.
Exactly, because no one else is going to do that. No one can do it for you. So, and I think that's something that actually surprised him and shocked him, because I remember when I was coming back and forth from Australia when we first hung out and met, and then I was sending him music, and then I was like, hey bro, I bought these synths and I did this and did that, and I think he was kind of like, oh wow, this guy's like doing it, like, and that was before I even made music, to then like getting booked for festivals and everything. So I think to him it must have been pretty amazing. Well, I'd like to hope that he feels proud from that, or like, saw that and was like, holy shit, okay, wow. Because again, everybody can have the same information and all the rest of it. It's how they use it and how they apply themselves to get an end result.
Knowledge is nothing. Knowledge is nothing without application.
Yeah.
There's like general knowledge, and there's also applied knowledge.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's just life. Not only just for just DJing and like making music. It's literally lessons for your entire life. No matter what you do, no matter what you want to do in life, you have to put in the work. Like you're not gonna get any results if you just stay stagnant, or if you don't at least try.
That's right.
And those are lessons that wasn't really told to me, but I had to like learn it through life. It had to be lived to be understood. Exactly. And so I kind of like want to thank you. I want to thank Eprom as well for kind of like teaching me that as well, like seeing it, like reading between the lines of it, because it was thanks to that and other people as well who inspired me to even want to do stuff like this.
Right.
Because this is like my 56th interview I've done so far, and I keep on grinding to be at a point where it's like I want to really shine a light on people like you and your stories and your journeys, because this is like how I was moved by your journey, how your stories. I'm also moved by hearing them as well and wanting to express to other people out there. Well, hopefully they can learn something as well, and the knowledge they'll gain here, they can apply it in their life as well, and the cycle can go on and on and on. It's like we all can rise and grow together.
Definitely.
So to that much, I say thank you so much. To your music, I say thank you so much. And I have to ask this question as well, since we mentioned Eprom, and of course, you had a few, joining him on this tour, back to back with him. I'm curious to know, what back-to-backs was like something that you really loved and you would love to do again? Is it with you and Eprom? Is it maybe you and G-Rex? Is it maybe I don't know, you and Recno? Or maybe I'm throwing out there you and Buku?
Yeah, there's also Champagne Drip, and there's also
Jansen,
exactly.
Subdoctor.
And Subdoctor. So I've done a lot of back-to-backs, but I think for me, like, Eprom will always be like my ultimate, because he was like the teacher, you know what I mean? So having the opportunity to do back-to-backs with him was amazing, especially at that Lost Lands 2019, yeah. And then I've always like wanted to continue to do back-to-backs with lots of different artists, but that one especially is like special to me. They're all special, but forthcoming, I might do some more back-to-backs with Jansen and Subdoctor, and I'm sure there's going to be some others that'll pop up here and there. Currently working on remixes, not remixes. I'm doing a remix for Ravenskin, which is coming out.
Oh yay!
But collab's coming out with Versive, Barclay Crenshaw, LS Dream, and I think that's all I can name off the top of my head. Is there any others you can think of?
Jansen.
Oh, Jansen and I got a track coming out next month on Bass Rush. Shout out Bass Rush.
That is incredible. So you kind of answered my question, which was, what might be next for ZEKE Beats as well. Although the one thing I was surprised by is that is there going to be any more work in maybe with Wakan, because it seems like listening to the Taboo podcast with you and him, it seems like Wakan has a special place in your heart, when not only would you release on Wakan, but you also were on the Wakan festival as well.
Yes.
Because it seems like the biggest message I've learned is that when it comes to working in Wakan as an artist, the CEO himself, Liquid Stranger, Martin, he does not care about the numbers, doesn't care about like the fame or anything, or the money or anything, or what will gain the most attention. It's all about you being you in your music and you being yourself and just letting that fly. Whether it's a flop or whether it's a success, it's all about just being you and like letting the music speak for itself. Reason why people like you have succeeded so much in Wakan, reason why someone like Taboo with Blue Collar Bass, when he released his debut album, was so successful, because he was being himself. No one stopped him, no one held him back, no one said you can't do your comedy shows. He just was himself the whole way through, and that is something that, like you said, we need more of in the music industry. We need more of that in our community, which is people that be themselves unapologetically and just let that fly in themselves.
Definitely, and that doesn't only just apply to music, I think it applies to life itself. So just being ineffably or inexcusably yourself is the best way to be, and even if there are things which are positive or negative about that, it's about experiencing those things and learning from them, growing, and building a depth of character based off of your experiences.
So will there be more work in Wakan with you?
Definitely. I mean, I don't actually have any releases coming up, except for the remix with For Ravensgoon.
Mm-hmm.
But like on Wakan, I'm sure there'll be things in the future. I want there to be things in the future. So and we kind of like, for a while there, I was like Deadbeats, Deadbeats had their grip on me, and I couldn't like release on other record labels. I was like,
understood, but Deadbeats is Deadbeats, ZZ is ZZ, so.
Right. And then I ended up, deciding to branch out a little bit. So I haven't actually released on Deadbeats in a while. I was one of their first releases actually with Yup. So Yup was released on Deadbeats. I don't know if you knew that, but that was.
Oh no, I knew that. It's just like one of the early stages of ZEKE Beats at the time. But yeah, released on Deadbeats, being known by someone as incredible as it's dead. That's nothing to sneeze about. But yeah, I wish that like you could release on like other places as well. You did release on other labels as well. Like you said, you mentioned Bass Rush. We also did mention Bitbird with you and View Damien. That to me was a pretty incredible song in 2017. But all of you maybe doing work for there. I don't know. I'm not ZEKE Beats. I'm not in your mind. But again, the success that you had are still like things to not sneeze about or put aside, because that was all building up to where you are right now in your career and in your journey. So don't just push that aside. It's something to still be proud of.
Oh,
thank you. And of course, all the incredible music that you made so far, from then to now, from your competitions to you starting off on the pool table in school with your turntables, it's all built up to where you are now. And that much is, I'm so happy to see just absolutely blow up and succeed to this day. And it's something that's just wonderful to see.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Appreciate you so much for everything. And again, I feel like it's not going to be the last show with you and Barely Alive, because I feel like we are only halfway. This is only like, I think, if we look at the poster, this is the last date on the first row at Soundcheck. We have like at least 25 more dates left until around the end of April. So who knows that you'll be performing more shows in bigger venues throughout the U.S.
Definitely. Yeah, we've got Toronto tomorrow actually, and then after that we're doing El Paso, and then I think that's it for me on the tour. But then we've got something coming up later on in August, which I've been offered. So I'm like in the motion of confirming it. So that's all I can say about that. Yeah.
Let's just leave it at that. But again, hopefully you can work more Barely Alive in the future, because another incredible guy, one of the top dogs of Disciple. It's an absolute honor to not only speak with you, but I can hardly freaking wait to witness the power, the prowess, the talents that is ZEKE Beats tonight. Just thank you so much, Zeke, for everything. Thank you so much to all your team. You're incredible too, the tour manager, and everyone listening. You all incredible too. Thank you so much for listening. And to all the people out there who I listened to in the podcast that gave me information here, Mr. Bill, Taboo, I love you guys so much. Hopefully you and ZEKE Beats can work together. Keep on working together, making more collabs, because I would love to hear some bass music from you and Taboo. I want some more. Can I get some more? Anyway, thank you so much for listening. This is Len Blair Jr., ZEKE Beats, signing out. Love you guys so much. Peace.